Yeah.
Where are we?
We are still at 6:50. I'm waiting for the clerk. When she's done, it is now 7 p.m.
Check and make sure we're on.
Overwatch time, 7 p.m.
Don't give up on me, we're gonna start.
I'm just making sure it's loaded. Hang on.
Okay.
1 second.
Got it?
We're good. We're good to go.
All right, welcome, everybody. Chuck Lutzow has the strep, and Rachel Lawrence has an excused absence. So there's just us.
Yay.
I called the meeting of the Algonquin Township Board for December 12th, 2018 to order. Would you please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, you want to take the roll, please?
Yes. Shay?
Yeah.
Chapman?
Present.
Victor? Here.
All right, we have a quorum. All right, next item on the list will be approval of the minutes for the monthly meeting on November 14th, 2018. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And I will second the motion.
All right, is there any discussion on this? No discussion. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, that motion passes for the monthly meeting minutes of November 14th with a voice vote. Next, we have a motion for the approval of the special meeting held on October 19th, 2018.
I move the approval of the minutes from October 19th, special meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on those? Hearing none. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, then the minutes for the special meeting on October 19, 2018 have been approved by unanimous voice vote. Our next item will be the audit of the bills and treasurer's report. First, we have the town fund in the amount of $87,196.78. These copies. I hope so. I don't have it. We'll get them.
I move the adoption of the town fund expenditures.
I'll second it. Any discussion on those?
Victor?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes. Approval of the town fund audit of monthly expenditures is approved by a unanimous roll call vote. I gotta figure out whether I signed, where I signed it. Township supervisor, or do I sign just us?
You're acting as him.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, this goes to you next, then we'll get over to him. All right, the next item will be the audit and the expenditure report for the general assistance fund. Monthly fund of $8,936.79. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that motion.
All right, do we have any discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Shay.
Yes. All right, the motion to approve the general assistance fund monthly expenditures has been approved by a unanimous roll call vote. The next item will be the road and bridge fund. The monthly expenditure is $164,112.47. Do I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All right, discussion. You have some discussion
I
on
have
this?
some discussion items that I would like to bring
Okay,
up.
well, get out the calculators.
We got it.
All right, I'm looking at, first of all, the reimbursement for clothing and shoe expenses that is in this road and bridge fund. The first item I would like to bring to the attention is the fact that we are tax exempt, and all of these workers that have purchased clothing and boots are all using tax, and we are tax exempt. So I don't feel we should be covering the tax. Second of all, there are a couple items here. I feel that this is not being thoroughly done. Is supposed to be a $250 clothing expense and $150 shoe expense, and these workers are going over the amount of the expense that is supposed to be. So if you look at the bills, you will see. I want to make a motion that we only approve up to $150 for shoes and $250 for clothing.
You want to list the ones you're working with then?
Kevin Fitzgerald, $159.99 for boots. Once again, these are all tax. Added on here again. Dennis Atkins for reimbursement, $179.99 for boots. But then we have another person, LaRue Alvarado, that only spent $69.99 on boots.
Well, then you're not pulling anything out of him, right?
No.
Okay.
Mike Ball, $229 for boots. Then we have Andre Hover that has two things. On 3/4/2018, he purchased boots for $154.99 plus adding the tax equals $170.49. And then he just purchased boots again twice in a year, and another purchase for boots for $149.99.
Yeah, Andrew should police this as it's a department policy, so.
I feel this is a policy that he's not following. I asked for a clothing allowance update, and some of these are not on his update. So I'd like to see an updated spreadsheet. Is he keeping track of all these people with their spending for their clothing allowance?
Do you have a list of of the ones you want to pull so we add values so that we can take that whole thing off and delay it?
Yes.
They may be paid already. The people might have paid them, or did they?
Well, for one, Andrew Havel for the amount of the second amount of boots that he's purchased this year for $149.99. I think all of the tax needs to be taken out for all of these men because we are tax exempt.
Okay, that's right.
So Mike Ball, $17.81 customer tax added on to that, and his boots for $229.99. That's way over the amount he's allotted. $21.79 for LaRue Alvarado for tax again.
Trustee Victor, can you repeat the tax on the other one? It was 17.
81.
So
Okay,
are you asking to pull all of these off, or,
Mhm.
I'm just trying,
Yes.
right. So how would that make it,
so you just pull those bills out and then, okay.
the
What
total
was-
amount?
Well, why don't you just pull out the bills and then?
Okay.
I guess you
Yeah,
have
the
to say.
whole
Okay.
bunch.
So for the total, okay. So how about you give us the names then, and I'll pull them
Okay.
from the bills.
And, yeah, because
And the
we'll have to
total.
adjust the
They're gonna all need to be
sheet,
adjusted.
road and bridge sheet to take that off.
Okay, so what are the names again?
Andre Haverall for Blaine's Farm and Feet, the amount 21704.
Okay,
Andre Hobart. Oh, I'm sorry, Audrey Hobart for the 21704, because I have his old bill here from 3/4 to prove that he's paid twice on boots. LaRue Alvarado for 28610.
which was that?
Yes. Mike Ball for 24780. Dennis Atkins for 24298. Andrew Heckman for 14037. And Kevin Fitzgerald for 47805.
Kevin's job is only issued for
Okay.
I think these all need to be adjusted in order for us to approve
Kevin's
these.
is only, his
Yeah.
job is only actually 400,
Okay.
so that's all I can take off.
So his was the right amount? No.
His was for his allotted 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can buy that.
Right, but the way Mr. Gasser has this broken down in the spreadsheet that I received today is that they're only allowed $250 for clothing expenses and $150 for shoes, and they're going way over and above on their shoes.
But he's only reimbursed, oh, I see what you're saying.
And then you also said that the sales tax,
And the sales tax is added on all of these, and we are tax exempt.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Victor,
Sheet matches your-
were those bills, were they all at the same place where they purchased them?
They were all different places.
Bad. Yeah, I know, in the community service group I was in, we, made purchases that were supposed to be tax exempt. We took our receipt back and they refunded us the tax dollars, but
trouble is when you've got a chart, Chase, $17 worth of taxes in that, in-house it even costs us more than that to do.
sure, sure.
It's the old story of what it costs you, but it's the right thing to do, but it just costs so much to chase those dollars.
And I'm sure once Andrew's informed, he'll, make sure that everybody gets a card that shows that they're tax exempt. To take with them.
Well, there's no motion.
Did
Dan.
you get a total?
What would be the motion then?
Well,
The
first.
motion is to pull those. And then we'll take that total off of the amount that's to be approved here, and then it'll have to come back, adjust it, that's all.
Okay, are we gonna do them separately like we did last time?
Well, since we'll give it a try to do it as a package.
Okay.
And the list that was supplied.
Okay,
And there would be a motion to remove these
Total.
items as presented.
okay,
And then we work with the total.
okay,
Then we'll take the total, and then when we get that total, we'll take that total off and, as a motion to adjust the road and bridge fund
okay.
money. So
The total for those is 1,473.
To approve the bills now, so she's has to make more.
A motion, yeah, we have
Somebody has to second.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have the sheet, Dan?
Pardon me?
Well, hold on, we're not changing it yet. Maybe I should grab the sheet from you.
Haven't changed it yet.
And when we get the number, we'll make a motion to remove those as supplied. But then we still have, once that motion is approved,
We have to approve the other
then we
amount.
have to take that off and adjust the expenditure report unless there's gonna be more. Do you have more for this?
I have more.
All right, well, let's do that as a piece first, and then we'll see where the rest go.
Okay, so that's gonna be its own motion.
That's gonna be the motion that most likely Melissa will make to remove that total, because she don't have a total.
Okay,
For the units that you put down that she described as a bundle, unless someone wants to separate them, do them all individually, but I don't know that. This was all presented as a single subject.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I have explanations of bills. We pulled bills out of last
oh,
month's
he was up here.
expenditure, and I've
Here's another one.
got explanations on several of the bills, not all of them. I think there was one or two that I didn't find out from Commissioner Gasser what they are. I mailed the information to each of the trustees, and I'd like to read some of those bills back in and have that.
Probably wait till we wrap this one up.
So I should amend the main motion?
Well, wait, first of all, we're gonna get the total that they have there for the motion that we'll have on the ones that we've had submitted already.
Yes,
And then we'll deduct them,
right,
motion, and then if there's any others, we can deduct, and then by the time we get done, we'll have a package,
okay.
the total of all of them. And then I'm not sure, what, were those from, Road and Bridge?
They were,
Okay, and just as long as they're looking stuff up, were you going to make a motion to approve
Yeah.
those?
yes, they were pulled pending receipt of the information as to what they were for. And now we have the information, and therefore they should be voted back
Okay,
to
I'm not
DK.
sure how, we'll have to talk to Jim about how,
Are they already in the packet this month?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we can talk about them.
Well, yeah, because we didn't want to pay them because of, well,
lack of
we
explanation.
didn't, yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
subject for discussion.
This amount is $1,473.14.
I would like
Okay,
to
give me
make,
that again.
Okay, 1473.14.
Okay, put it down for reference. Okay, that would be for this packet as you presented them,
Mhm.
a motion to remove that from,
I would like to make a motion to remove $1,473.14 from the bills.
Second,
all right, so they can have this, all right,
Why don't we just make that a little clearer for the
Yeah,
employees?
yeah, clear.
Obviously,
clarify it.
just the employee, names of the employees.
The names of them, please.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I would like to make a motion to remove
Yeah, you already have the motion, just
Okay.
clarify it. yeah.
Kevin Fitzgerald, Andrew Heckman, Dennis Atkins, Mike Baugh, Ray Alvarado, Andre Hobart.
Okay. All right, that's part of the motion, and you agree with that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now we open that for discussion. And you already pretty much presented that it was because there's mistakes in the purchases and taxes and all kinds of other things in there that have to be clarified.
Yeah, also this clothing allowance that I received today from Gasser does not show that he is keeping up with how much his workers are spending on clothing and shoes.
Okay,
And he should be more clear on his workers with the tax exempt. It's a simple form that they could be using. And why should the township be paying this tax?
all right, for clarification, that was $1,473.14.
Yes.
Did you have anything you wanted to add if we discussed this?
not on that subject, no.
We have a motion and a second to remove those based on the materials supplied to us on this group. All right, since there's no more discussion, we'll have a roll call vote.
Victor,
This is too.
to remove,
Yes,
Shay? I'm sorry, Chapman,
Yes,
Shay,
Yes. All right, so that is approved. Now we've got some other ones you wanted to bring up.
yes. Cassidy Tires, once again, I'm having a problem with several of Gasser's bills. we seem to have credits. And I'm wondering why we have credits on all of these bills that he is submitting. Why are we overpaying and we have these credits? So I'm very concerned with Cassidy Tire and Service. Once again, there is no backup information on which vehicle this is for. I don't know which vehicle. Why are we overpaying? And I want this bill removed until further clarification. I wish that he would be here tonight to explain which vehicle these would be approved for, but also I would like to, the one is 2136 and 45786. But then we have a strange credit on here from Cassidy Tires. It seems we have a credit on pretty much every bill that I've looked at lately. And I'm wondering why he is overpaying these bills and why we're having all these credits, but I guess that's another thing. The specific thing I'm talking about is Cassidy Tire and Service. There should be a year, a make, a model, a license number, a VIN, anything to explain what vehicle this is for. How do I not know this is for a personal vehicle? He probably could very clearly explain this to me, but because once again, he is not here to explain this, why should we be paying this money when we don't know what it is for?
All right, did you want to make a motion to pull?
So I
those
would like to
two
make a
from
motion
Cassidy
to pull these two from
Tire
Cassidy
Service?
Tires in the amount of $457.86 and $21.36.
Okay,
No, $21.36. And $457.86.
and what do we get a total on those?
Okay, in the check register, apparently one's not supposed to be in there, according to the check register.
Okay, well,
Is that,
Once again, this is sloppy.
yeah, I don't know why this
I
is,
received it in my,
is this the one you added late? No?
This is the only one that was cut. This,
Hmm.
the only check that was cut,
Okay,
how much was that?
2136.
$21.36.
well, hold on, is this it?
it says 11/19/18.
Just for information, while I was reviewing the checks, I noticed that some of the companies list as a credit the discount they give us. And one of them was like a 20% or something other on it.
Well, this doesn't
And they
look like
just,
a
that's the way
statement.
they
And this
put
is
it
a
down.
statement.
That don't help.
I'm just looking at what I received in my packet. And it didn't make sense.
Okay, so this is a statement, because we don't pay statements, we pay invoices. So is this an invoice? This looks like this is the invoice that they submitted with a total of $457.86, which is right here. So,
I know what she did. Because if you see, Colleen doesn't, see where it says completed,
mhm,
that means she input it. This one did not get input. If it doesn't say completed, she stamps it after she inputs it. I don't know why she put this in here. I think she's a little confused. With, like you said, this is the actual invoice. It should have been probably paid off of here and that.
okay, well, this is a credit, clearly, because if why is the balance due if the payment was this and that's the invoice? That makes no sense. So, yeah,
It makes
it
no
makes no
sense.
sense.
It makes no sense.
So you want to pull
36.
$21.36?
You still, you want to
Yes.
pull the
it makes no
$21
sense.
or whatever it is?
Mhm.
Okay, 21.36.
All right,
We have a motion.
Second,
all right. That was, for reference sake, that's the Cassidy Tire bill. All right, anything further we want to discuss on that?
Mhm.
We'll
There-
take that one individually, you know, good. And add it to the thing. All right. No further discussion. That's the 2136 for the Cassidy bill. I'll have a roll call vote, please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
yes,
Shay.
Yes. And what we're gonna do is we're going to add all these up, so we only just take off the whole package that's approved. Okay, your turn.
Okay, Verizon, we have two Verizon bills for Ryan Provenzano. One for the amount of $36.46 and one for the amount of $52.23. Why are we still receiving
Pam
these
can
bills?
help you with that.
That, I cannot, because that's road district phones. I could only help on the phone that was with, when he had with the supervisor's office, which I have
Okay.
canceled that phone. We have a credit actually on that one. On the road district side, I can't.
Maybe it's Colleen that said there was a credit then when I asked about it also today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a credit because they canceled his phone, because he had like the guys have those flip phones, so I don't know if they canceled it like mid-cycle, so it ended up with a credit. That's the only thing I can say. I don't do their bill, so I don't.
Well, this doesn't show a credit. This says that we
No, I didn't see
owe.
it either.
Okay.
Like I said, I brought that up today also.
So I say we pull these two bills.
Okay. Motion to pull Verizon,
Verizon,
how much is the amount?
52.23 and 36.46 for Ryan Provenzano.
Do I have a second?
Second,
What do you get for a total there, Phil?
8869, so what you got?
What is that?
8869,
88. And what was the change again?
69.
69. Okay, just making sure.
So you
Well,
can't
the
do that on
Verizon-
phone.
see this some, never mind, just, never mind.
We have
There's a
motion
Verizon
and a
bill in
second for
here.
this one.
But there's no check.
Pardon me?
I don't, who we have a second.
I seconded.
All right, there was no discussion. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Pam cannot find a check that was cut
There's
for
no
that
check out
either.
to Verizon.
Why am I getting these bills? Once again, this is
So it's-
sloppy bookkeeping. I don't understand why I'm getting these bills.
Then it isn't in the total?
It's not in,
No.
Okay, then we will,
There's a bill in here, but it's not, there's no check for it, I guess.
No.
So, but it says completed and has the line item. And that's only for
well, if
one.
there's no check and it's not in the total, we can't pull.
Right?
out of the total.
Yet it was in our packets.
Okay, all right,
Well, then I'll rescind my second.
we'll have to look into that, so we won't be pulling that out of that sum, otherwise we're gonna end up with bad numbers if it's not in there in the first place.
Yeah, just make sure the clerk knows he's rescinding the second or withdrawing your motion. So she writes it down.
Okay,
All right,
what's the next motion?
gonna make a record.
I'm gonna withdraw the motion since it's apparently not on the bill, on the
Okay.
Check
checks,
register.
but it's in our
Basically, the
bills
checks,
that I
if
was,
it's not in
that
there,
was
it's not
sent.
in there, okay. Okay,
And I rescinded my second, Madam Clerk.
okay, all right, you have some more.
Mhm. Hanlon. Once again, I am not paying this bill. It is not a needed expense. He lost. We need to move forward. And I am making a motion to not pay these bills by Hanlon.
All right,
The
well,
first one is $7,760.
$7,760 even?
Yes. Next one, $16,620. Next one, $4,200. Next one, $6,400. I will not pay these bills.
Okay, well, you make a motion not to pay those bills.
What was the total?
Robert Cannon, they're totaling now.
Okay. These are all new legal bills. These are not the ones that were on the bill.
These are the
30?
ones that were last month that now he re-entered this month.
34,980.
It's not 3470?
According to the check register.
Okay.
Let me add it up in my head here.
All right, so you can give me that number again, 34,980.
34,980.
Okay. Ain't gonna be much left of the, road and bridge by the time we pull all this. All right, and now you have some more. Well, wait, we got a motion on this to pull Hammond. You made the motion. We got a second somewhere? I'll second it. All right, discussion on this at all, folks? Only thing I'll say is this illegal billing is just totally irresponsible, the amount of money that's going into this legal business. It just boggles me that we're carrying on things that have been decided in court 2-3 times. And then we renew them on technicalities that are just not fair to the public. Okay, all right, then, any other discussion? No other discussion?
Yes.
Told you have a discussion.
Sure. It's as reprehensible being the first trustee to stand up and say, I'm not gonna pay these bills. I have to say that the statute says if it is a lawfully presented bill and there is money in the line item, then it shall be paid. That being said, I understand it's reprehensible, but I think we've done some things towards it. And I can't vote, no, I can't vote not to pay.
Okay, thanks. Anything further?
It is not a needed expense. I feel this lawyer is taking advantage of the township and of the road district. I think he's taking advantage of the taxpayers, and I refuse to pay any more bills by Hamlin. He is not a union lawyer either.
Okay, any further? No further?
Was there a motion and a second?
There was a
Yes.
motion and there was a second, right?
Second by Dale.
Roll call.
So roll call, please.
Victor,
This is to not pay the bill?
this is to remove and not pay.
Yeah.
Is that what your motion was?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes,
Chapman,
No,
Shay,
Yes,
motion carries.
did you get your vote?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that motion passes by a majority of a quorum of 3. All right, do you have another?
no, the last thing that I just want to mention again is there's another bill for Ziegler's Ace Hardware. We have all these credits coming from all these different companies that he's paying. Why do we have all these credits? Why is he overpaying all these bills? We have a credit for $57.54 for this bill, a credit. Why are we spending our taxpayer money or overly spending it? And why do we have all these credits?
Okay, well, I had to
So
have to say.
that's just
a
something that I
credit, so
wanted
we're
to
not gonna
mention.
handle that.
But it's just something that I wanted to mention
Yeah, it's a good
because
idea.
we
Good
keep
idea.
having all these credits on all these accounts,
fair question.
but then he submits bills for them, but then we have these credits and it's very confusing. And I feel like, why are we overpaying on our bills? We're paying over and over and over. So I feel this is very sloppy bookkeeping.
It should be, if nothing else, there should have been an explanation on it. That if it's bringing back,
Return.
yeah, something returned or
Some sort of
something like that, there
explanation,
should always
something.
be something else. Okay, well, as long as you got that. All right, that takes care of that. And this total, now, if there was something else are you going to add to it?
I am. And
Okay,
I don't know that I need a subsequent motion since they were pulled pending the information being provided. They're back in the expenses and I just go through the 6 bills from those companies and tell what
well,
they
the
are.
trouble is we have to show it on paper and we probably took it off last month.
I think
They're in here.
It's in there.
Yeah. Yep.
He's saying they're in there. They're in the building.
JX Truck Center.
Well, they're in today's, so
Uh,
it's not a problem.
those are all,
Pardon me?
those are all equipment building. That's the next.
that one, yeah, these ones are back in the other one too, in Road and Bridge.
But, so all of them are in the paperwork we have here, so. we
Yeah,
don't have to
Cassidy.
take action and just announce it.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So, if you will total up what we want to withdraw from these numbers here, which I have three subjects, Close, Cassidy, and Hanlon,
Mhm.
that were in this package. The one that we had for Ryan is not in there. So that's a dead issue. So if you would total up those other three, and we'll make it, we have motions to remove all of them, so now we'll have a new number
Okay,
that we'll be working with.
okay. Now,
Not the one
Hold
I
on a
read,
second.
it's gonna be whatever.
that has to
I'll
be
repeat it.
minus Hanlon because you already voted to not pay Hanlon. Yeah, they removed to not pay.
Right,
That was the motion.
right.
So Hanlon, I have to add, I have to. This is,
Go ahead.
okay, so we need to take out Hanlon.
Well,
Of this,
they-
we've already voted on him to not pay that.
They voted not to pay all of these.
No, she just voted to remove those, correct?
No, we voted to take them out
And not pay.
and not pay
Okay,
the close, which was 14.
okay.
You know those numbers.
okay, the amount is 36,474.50. So the new, you don't want the new total yet, I'm not gonna give you that yet,
Okay,
because we have to vote on that amount.
well, no, we've already voted to remove these.
Okay,
And now what you have to do is we have to resubmit the total we had was original as printed.
right, so it's changed,
So now, we had a motion to approve that.
right,
And what we have to do now is, now that we've got a number, we'll have to adjust the number on that thing.
okay, it's adjusted.
And, all right, what did you come up with?
127,637.97.
All right, that's a new number.
Mhm.
All right, now let's see. We had a motion for the first one. So when we take the vote, because we never had the vote for the first one, I will announce what the new number is.
Okay.
And then we'll have the vote on it, because we don't need another motion. What was that number again?
I'm gonna give it to you right now.
127, 637.
127, 637, 97. All right, what we're voting on now is the adjusted figure that we had from all three that we approved, which is a total number of road and bridge fund of $127,637.97. Now, do we want to discuss that? Luckily, no. Okay, I will have a roll call vote on that, please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes,
Shay.
Yes.
Dan, can you give me that amount one more time?
127,637.94 or 97.
Thanks.
Okay, all right, and now the final one is the equipment and building. The value here is $146,408.20. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second. All right, this is open for discussion.
Yes, I have some bills in here as well. First of all, Radicom, it is an attention to a Tom Schroeder who is no longer alive. I'd like to know why he is on this bill. Okay, so if this is just if they could please change the name.
It is, yeah.
that
Bob
would be
Miller's name is
great.
on, yeah, Bob Miller's name is on
Well-
several of them still.
Okay, JX Truck Center, does Benel go with this? If so, we're double paying. Once again, where's the award number that goes with it? There's no award number that goes with this. So I'd like to know, with this, an award number that, and also, I feel that he's misrepresented, the public and misleading the board. With this JX Truck Center, because it says the balance due is $134,877, which was different than what he said that his trucks costed.
Right, what did you,
Oh.
while you're reading it, did you want
Did you
to
get an
pull these
explanation on
bills?
this?
This is about the truck, correct?
Yes.
That you're asking. Yes, I have an explanation.
Oh,
So as
great.
soon as Dan finishes
All right,
talking.
yeah, okay, we'll pull that one so we remember to, so I remember to grill
Thanks.
Also, why is rent in equipment and building? It should be in road and bridge.
them. Without, it hasn't been here in months, so.
Bob Riddings for the amount of $41,777. There was no bid. Who did you bid through? Bonal Industries for, there are a few of them. $2,345. Parts for which truck? There's no unit number. This should be part of a truck package, I would think. Why are we double paying? Another one for $908.29.
Yeah, who was the,
Final.
okay.
Okay, this is,
And that's all I got.
okay, now, what did you want to do with those? You want to pull,
Yeah, because there's no explanation on the units that were, there's no explanation. What about the truck package? There's no explanation on what unit, on what truck this is for, nothing. Once again, if Mr. Gasser would come to a meeting and explain these things, I'm sure that this would be easily cleared up and I would be approving this. Same with Bob Writings. There's no bid number. Who did you bid through? I would like to know.
let's say it's.
The rent should be under, capital improvement. Why is it in, equipment and building?
Okay,
Radicom, this, I just want fixed with this man's name that's no longer.
Yeah, Township. He was
God bless his
supervisor. Yeah.
yeah,
Pam, when did we get our packets?
Friday.
Friday. And so, we have the opportunity, if we have questions about the bills or about anything in our packets, to contact Commissioner Gasser and ask about that so that we have clarification before tonight. So when he doesn't come,
that adds to the problem.
it does add to the problem, absolutely. So if we have a question, I'm gonna call him before the meeting comes and try and get answers to the questions. I ask him to come every meeting. Every meeting I ask him to
We
come.
know, we had a motion on the floor to approve this.
Yes.
We're in the discussion phase. Now, what's, Melissa has presented is a number of items, but we don't have a motion on that yet. But you wanted to explain this one.
The tax truck center. Do you
The truck and the package, yeah. So, so the new truck that was bid through, it used to be called the National Joint Purchasing Agency, the NJPA,
Yeah.
and now it's been changed to Sourcewell. So it was bid, and the truck has been delivered. It is now over, that is the JX Truck Center truck that we got from Wadsworth. And that truck has been sent over to Bonal Industries, It's waiting to get the upgrades to fit it out. So that it's more than the cab. It'll be the actual finished vehicle. And that is the $137,000 that was presented as a final dollar amount for the truck.
Which is still different than what he told the taxpayers.
Yeah, that I don't know. I just asked about the truck and the package, and when it was gonna be.
Okay, do you have, proof of a bid?
Yeah, oh, yes, right?
I do not have.
You don't, okay,
I have a number.
yes,
I have a number. That's no proof. I don't have an award letter. I don't have what was included in that bid. I've asked for those things repeatedly and have not received them to date. I have a bid number. That's all I have. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much the bid was. I don't know what was awarded under that. I have nothing.
did you contact Sourcewell
That's
and
not-
ask them with that number?
Why would I ask? Why would I contact Sourcewell?
So,
I've asked for Mr. Gasser's bid package that he went into
yes,
agreement with.
yes,
I have not received that as
Yes.
clerk.
that's
I
fine,
have not received those records,
very
nor
good.
do I have those records.
Okay. That's not very good news considering that, non-payment of that bill will result in a penalty. However, if he didn't provide the documentation, we're not gonna pay.
I'm still wondering why we're not handling these bids, this kind of money here in-house like we always did on stuff before. So it was all open to the public. And open to, we have no idea how many people even bid on this stuff to see how, that there isn't a bid to one operation and that's the end of it.
Sure. Well, similar to the National Joint Purchasing Agency, the organizations all across the country are part of this, and they get to get volume discounts, and it takes care of the bidding. It's all legal and above board and recognized across the nation.
Traditionally, the state of Illinois used to have a program too.
They still do, yeah.
And that was quite often much more in the public's interest dollar-wise than it was to go through wide open, but that was included.
Yeah.
So it was competitive between the states bid and outside organizations.
And Commissioner Gosser has used the Illinois Purchasing Association for various purchases along the way.
Is that the state of Illinois
Yes.
purchase?
Yes.
That's,
Central Management Services.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Central Management, yeah, yes.
And then I wonder why in the world he didn't use the salt that way to save us a bundle. Because that's the same general system, the state of Illinois.
Yes.
Enough said. Okay,
My issue
what
is
do you
that,
want
yeah,
to do?
I think we need to,
with-
we need
Pardon
to
me?
pull this. But we pull this bill until we have the proper documentation to go along with it.
All right, well, if you would, you don't care about this one anymore, the radio one, just because the name's wrong. It's still Algonquin Township and all that, so. it's-
Right, I just would like the name changed. I mean,
Yeah. Sometimes you get stuff in
Guy
the
is-
mail for someone that passed away 20 years ago
Hmm.
in your family, you wonder.
right, but it says ship
Don't
to
these
this
people
guy
understand? Yeah.
and.
But you're not gonna pull that.
No,
No.
that I just wanted to mention
Put
that.
those together, because you're not pulling the truck, right?
I am pulling the.
Oh, you, okay, and put that back in there with your pile. And if you would put that together, we'll try to put it together as a package of the ones you want, delineate which company and what dollar value. We'll put a list, we'll total that one up and do just like we did on the other one, and then take that away from the motion with 146. How's that? Sounds right.
Okay, so what is your motion?
My motion is to pull the bill is to not pay the bill in the amount of $87,959.
What about the other ones?
Also,
But
Like
why
I
don't you
said-
state the vendor too?
for the JX Truck Center. Also, to not pay Bob Writing
Incorporated, because there is no bid with it, for $41,777.
Those two are because there's no bid, that's the subject. Okay, let's take that. Do you have any more because of no bids? Or are these different?
This is just, there's no unit number, there's no.
Okay, that's a technical thing. I would say that we should keep the no bid ones, because that's a single subject, and make a motion for these two as the ones that are justified pulling because there's no bids and no information on the bids. So you want to make that motion for these two?
Okay, I would like to make a motion to withdraw these bills in the amount of $41,777 and $87,959 on the basis that there is no bid.
Second.
Okay, now we have that, and that's open for discussion here and we'll do just like we did with the other ones you want, and we'll put that together. So this is the first package. Okay, any discussion beyond that?
There is. Andrew, if you have emails that you're sending this documentation, well, then you better come up and present it in public somehow. Because this is not appropriate, and we're 2 years into the administration, and we deserve to have these questions answered.
Even if it was in writing.
Absolutely. And that's why I said, I believe, Andrew, you have records of the bids, including the ones that Melissa is looking for. We'll ask you to provide them or put them. And again, if we have questions of this, the highway commissioner, we can ask them for those before the meeting and maybe get your questions answered before us.
What was the total of those two, Karen?
129,
125,
129,
129,
738,
638,
sorry, 630,
736.
oh, 736. Pam wrote it, look, I
736, and how much change? None?
None.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
I would like to invite the trustees to come and look at what I do have and tell me.
Sure.
There's nothing there. And so when he says I have it, I don't have that.
Sure.
The's nothing that
I'd like to
tells me.
look this
Okay,
week.
I would just like for you guys to come in and
Absolutely.
look at that and tell me
Absolutely.
if I'm missing something.
No problem, Karen.
Yeah,
Thank you for being,
Thank you.
Yeah,
I will be in this
realistically,
week just to make
that's right.
sure.
That should be part of the records. In other words, that are turned in.
Absolutely.
And retained by the clerk's office from that department. All right, so now you got those, these here are because they lack a truck
Information.
description.
Mhm.
And that's all of these? All right, you wanna name the companies and the dollar amounts, please?
Sure.
Is this part of the same bid? I mean, same motion?
No, this is an email.
Oh, this is.
Oh, wait,
No,
no,
I don't
wait.
think you vote.
This is the same.
You didn't vote to remove it.
No.
Okay, we got a motion just on this?
But you removed writings and JX truck.
correct. Right, we need a vote.
Right, but I didn't know if you wanted to keep going.
Okay, we
Okay,
can
should
I
vote, we
just
can
keep
vote
going,
again,
or
it
should I
don't cost anything. Go ahead.
Okay,
Should I just continue?
No, just this one, if you don't have a vote on this, we'll vote now. A roll call vote on these two.
okay, Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Shay.
Yes,
Okay,
all right. The motion to withdraw these two for the, no, information about the bidding process has passed by unanimous roll call vote. All right, the next item is, these, and these are all similar also, right? That'll be another package. Okay, go ahead.
All right, Bonnell Industries, again, there's no unit number. Did you hear anything from Mr. Gasser on
No,
this
not
one?
as far as.
I just want to make sure you did not hear.
No, that one I did not.
Okay, parts for which truck, that needs to be replaced, we don't know. Could this be a personal item? Could this not be I don't know. There's no information
I know it's
regarding what truck.
It's
this
the
is
Ford
for.
that's being replaced.
Okay, well, it doesn't say Ford. I mean, it could just
Yeah.
have, all it needs to say is what it's for. There's just, it doesn't say what it's for.
Sure.
How much
So
was that?
this amount is $2,345. And I have one more,
These are all
Bonnell.
Bonnell Industries.
Okay.
And I have one more for $908.29.
Okay. And what are those? Some else, or that's a debt issue?
This is the badge.
Okay. Now, do you have when you get a total, please?
For those two?
Yes.
325329.
3253
.29.
and 22 cents. So
29.
29. 29.
29 cents. All right, so I got $3,253.29. So if you would total that whole thing up, let's see.
Is that all you're pulling?
All right, you got a total of that for these on this motion.
Second.
Oh, we had a second.
Me.
You only pulled Bonnell? And second was Chapman, okay. The new amount is 132,989.29.
And 29 cents.
That's what we're pulling.
Oh, you didn't vote to pull Bonnell yet.
All right, that's the one we're pulling there. Okay, that's the total.
Oh, we haven't voted on Bonnell? Sorry, let's
That's the
vote
total
first.
for these two.
Yeah, let's vote
All
first.
right.
Right?
So,
Are we done with discussion?
well, we had, basically, did we go back? We approved the 3,253.29, the second pull also, but was there, or did we have to?
No.
Total. All right, so we had a motion to pull between the trucks and what other?
Just the trucks on this one.
Well, we got the trucks is 129,736 and 3,253.29 for the other things, and that's what Melissa is making. Did we?
No, hold on.
approve.
We gotta vote on just the Bonnell now,
Okay, all right,
okay?
thank you.
Okay, so roll
All
call
right,
vote.
any further discussion on this business about basically the description?
Well, once again, I just want to say, I'm more than happy to pay these bills, but I feel that things need to be more thorough. And so things need to be, all it needs is a truck, a VIN number, something that we can see what these are, instead of just taking him for his word that these are just bills, just random bills, but there's no documentation to support them. And that's why I'm having a problem with it. I'm not
Okay.
trying to be difficult. I asked Mr. Lutzel at the last meeting to ask Mr. Gasser to come tonight so that we could explain these things. And I did, for the record, try to reach out to Mr. Gasser, and I did not hear back
Thank you, Melissa. It's good to know.
prior to this.
Okay.
You want to discuss this? The second one?
One second.
Bonnell.
Bonnell,
Well, that's a 3,200.
Oh, no, fine with that.
okay,
Roll call vote. please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes,
Shay.
Yes. All right, now we're back to the original motion. And you take the 132 away from whatever that total was 146,408.
Okay, the new amount that you're gonna vote on now for the equipment and building bills or audit
Yeah,
is $13,418.91.
okay, that's what we're approving. Pretty much strips out a ton out of this thing. All right, and our original motion was 146,000 and a bunch. So our new, what we're approving here is the equipment and building expenditure of $13,418.91 as amended, as it has been, as amended. Okay, discussion on that.
Now, does this include the bills that were pulled out last month and were put back in?
I'm trying to figure out, because they were, I don't know, they were in the original report that gave us a total of 146.
Right. So if they're all still in there, then we're good.
Then, unless by some quirk they run way out,
Okay.
they should be the bulk of the 13,000.
No, these are only $5,800, $745, $55, $548,
Okay, that'll easily fit in.
$525. So,
Okay, so we have the new total. I'd like to, roll call vote, please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
yes,
Shay.
Yes. All right, the motion to approve the amended equipment and building expenditure report has passed by unanimous roll call vote. All right. Moving right along. Next item is public comments. The speakers are welcome to address the board for 3 minutes. All you really need to do is give your name. You don't need addresses and all the rest of that stuff. So go ahead, you're first, come on.
John Leonardi from Foxborough Grove. And going to the last several meetings over the 6 months here, I've noticed unwillingness on the part of the road commissioner to facilitate the board in providing accurate information. Being a former trustee of another organization years ago, I understand what you're going through. But I think that if your reach outs to him are failing, you may have to ask for freedom of information before the meeting so that you get the information. I mean, that's maybe your last recourse. I see him in his yard, I see him around his property, but he's not here. And if he's failing to communicate with you when you have the appropriate information you need and he doesn't relay it, you have to have some type of leverage. And I see the only leverage that is available to you is freedom of information. It may entail some litigation, knowing how he is litigious with everything, but why are you spending all this time trying to get simple answers and simple stuff taken care of? I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He may be inept, he may be just don't care, or he just can't, it's over his head. You know, I don't know, because I don't talk to him. But obviously a casual observation of what's transpiring here is putting the township board in jeopardy. I see if the salt was not bidded, okay, and you approve it, aren't you in jeopardy of being in violation of the law? So I would suggest taking action with the freedom of information just before the next board meeting and seeing if you can't get the results. You know, he has to respond to that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Chris Tilson. Last month was my first time attending one of these meetings. And something I observed that stood out to me that I wanted to point out was some of the board members here, when they're discussing some of the items on the agenda, they verbalize their thought processes about why they're going to vote a certain way. And I noticed some of the members were very systematic in explaining this and why they're voting this way because of guidelines, rules, regulations, letter of the law. Inversely to that, I saw other members that their votes were based on emotion and perceived popular opinion. So I would urge anybody that's here tonight and anybody that's listening to this and watching this to pay attention to not only what somebody is voting, but how they're coming to that vote. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Or the homeless guy?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Came in a little late and I apologize for that. Obviously, I made a lot of noise. I heard some interesting things when you were talking about the bills. Trustee Victor said, why do we have these credits? What is going on with that? You said they have, you don't want to address that. It's a credit. It's good. And then Trustee Chapman says, well, we have to pay it. If it's a legitimate bill, we have to pay it. I'm going to tell you why you have those credits. You have those credits because if you go online and you look at the bills, statements for accounts are coming in. And he's pushing that through as a bill. The highway commissioner is. You should never pay a statement. You pay invoices. So yes, Trustee Chapman, you have a fiduciary responsibility not to pay that. Dan Shea, you need to look at why is that credit there? That was a very good question. Because when you have that answer, then you know it's not a legitimate bill. Take your time. Don't pay statements. You pay invoices. That's it.
All right, well, thank you. Now, last call. Anybody else? Okay, the next item. Okay, I'll be right with you. Okay, the next item we have is to approve the tax levy ordinance for the tax year 2018 for Algonquin Township Road District. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Bring it up for discussion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second. All right, now, did you, all right, you have something you wanted to talk about on it?
No, sir.
Did you?
Oh, I do. First of all, I took a look at this and there's a thing that is not binding, but it has all kinds of essentially what would be referred to as budget type fixtures that are completely out of reason. Money for, and like I said, these numbers are not binding, but it shows me a very poor system of laying out the dollar values here, such as from the department, the retirement, Social Security, $10, insurance, $10, audit, $10, retirement fund, $10. What it makes me feel is if we were to approve this as submitted with these basically false figures, even though they're not binding, that gives a tacit potential approval of these figures, which shows that there's been very little thought going to it. So in my case, I'm not going to vote for approval. Now, if this is not approved, it goes back to last year's, which is relatively similar, but it's more realistic. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I'll comment and say that at the Township of Illinois annual meeting, the training that I went to specifically about the levy, And the reason that I had it there, and I also had Bob Coons, our past assessor, come and talk with Richard Alexander and myself and Dan, to try and separate for everybody's understanding the difference between the tax levy and the budget. And they don't have anything to do with each other. The tax levy is the amount of money that you can get from the taxes that are raised by the EAV, the value of the properties in our township. And it has nothing to do with, where he's going to spend that money or not spend that money. So these are placeholders, and that's it.
You have anything?
To add, I completely agree with what you're saying, Dan.
Personally, except there's a paper trail here, and as far as I'm concerned, it shows very little, even though those are not binding figures, it shows very little information to the public that would read it and try to get an idea if any of it is valid.
Right.
I mean, to me, we have had a number of times when the presentations out of that department have been less than candid, and I'm not in a position where I can approve it. So, all right. Anybody else?
Overall, was this an increase? I know there was a 2.1% allowable increase. The difference between the consumer price index. Does this say that it represents an increase or a decrease in the levied amount? Sure, and I know you're still looking for those ones from the past several years.
I'm so sorry. I would get those to you.
Thank you. That's all. I'm trying to establish a pattern of what the levies were over the last 10 years here in the township to let the residents know.
I think we have those online.
Yeah, I think we have those online too, isn't it? It's hard to find, but we have them here.
They go back about 4 years. They should be on the clerk's page. I think they started putting them on in 14. And they should be under other public documents. I think that's where they started putting them.
Sure. I just think the residents would like to know what the tax levy is.
Yeah, so I think it goes back at least 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
My experience was that we actually had, before this, been reducing somewhat.
Yes.
I mean, we're not, when people look, they want to see about their tax bill, but in reality, we don't collect enough money from these subjects to amount. If you reduce a couple percent, it's almost unnoticeable on an individual, if not unnoticeable. Normally, most places are levying slightly higher to allow for development, because that's allowed, and sometimes the regular is actually down, even though you've levied a little bit higher. You maybe see that with some of the communities. Okay. Nothing further, we'll have a roll call, please.
Victor,
No.
Chapman,
Yes.
Shay,
No. The vote to approve the tax levy ordinance for the road district has failed as a 2-to-1 roll call vote. Okay, the next item is the tax levy ordinance for the township.
Well, I move the adoption of the tax levy ordinance.
second.
I'll second.
Okay, I open it for discussion now.
I know we had talked, Jim, Supervisor Lutzow and myself, and maybe everybody, about capturing the new growth in the district. I know there was a desire to have a flat levy, except for capturing the new growth, so that that's added to the tax rolls immediately. I don't know where that language is, and I thought Chuck told me Sunday that that there was some language. If it's not needed, Jim, then, that's great. And I'll stand corrected, but I know that, we had to specifically make it in the village that, we wanted to capture the new growth. Okay,
I would actually like to point out that I like that that when you look at this, it shows 2017 tax levy and 2018 tax levy. So you can clearly see the difference and where things are being allocated. So I actually like it. I think it's very explanatory.
All right, and I was just gonna add, unless someone else, what you see here on this is also aging data, which shows that relatively the numbers that were presented for this year are relatively similar and showing at most marginal changes, but marginal changes, not oddball stuff that would jump out at you. Like I said, $10 for this and other stuff. Even though it's not a valid budget on it, it does give people an idea of where it was a year ago, where it is now, and a number of the numbers have changed because of responsibilities that have been passed off back to the supervisor's office that used to be taken care of, and the road district. And I hate to say it, but either way, it doesn't matter to the public, because if it's one or the other, they still end up paying the same thing. It's just one hand or the other. Simple as that. Okay, we have a motion and a second for this one. I call for a roll call vote, please.
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
yes,
Shay,
Yes. All right, we gotta do some signing here.
Yeah.
I think my copy is. Let's see what we are. All right, I checked this, which you would normally check. And I don't know, somewhere here we got I think this takes care of it.
yeah, it's on the
Let
left.
me show the eyes with just a check mark, I guess.
In the boxes.
There you go. All right, moving on to the next item. We have Mr. Jack Maycall of Wisdom Bridge to do a presentation for everybody.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Give the subject first of all.
Yes, it's about communications for townships, and I want to thank trustee Chapman, who I met at the Township Officials of Illinois Conference in Springfield last month, for the opportunity to be here. And I know I'm the thing standing in front of all of you folks from getting out of here, so I will keep it brief. I won't go through my little handout that I did.
And I'll thank you.
You're welcome. What David shared with me, and I think everybody here in the room, the residents read the papers. I get the Daily Herald. I live down the road in Barrington. And I've been working with townships now for 3 years, currently working with New Trier Township in Winnetka, where, Jim, you know, the late Patty Brennan, who was the supervisor, God rest her, she was very frustrated with the fact that people did not know what township government did, the outcomes. So what she wanted to do was change the communications up, and we were hired, my company is a full-service marketing firm, public relations, and she wanted us to redo the newsletter that they have, which you have the Courier, which is in your sample packets that I put before you. This newsletter is put out 3 times a year, in winter, in summer, and fall. It is carrier route delivered to every household in the township. The real purpose is the outcomes. You know, people go, there's a food pantry in Winnetka. Yes. You have elderly people, you have people with disabilities, you have single parents working 2 and 3 part-time jobs, people living in Section 8 housing. They're feeding 100 families a month. And until they really put their foot forward on communications, like most townships, it was a well-kept secret. And what Dave and I talked about, and I'm just throwing this out tonight to the trustees for thought, is the possibility of renewing your newsletter and going back out with that. It's amazing the results that you see when you communicate regularly. We also produce every 2 weeks on Friday something called the Dispatch, which is a simple, constant contact newsletter that goes out to about 1,200 residents that have opted in. David McSweeney, as you read in the papers, has also gone out with more legislation about the elimination of townships. And my position or my thought to you as a group tonight, you are doing good work. I see the diligence here tonight. You're monitoring the expenses, you care about it, you're great stewards. But the people here have the final vote in an elimination. If you do not know what's going on, you do not understand the good work that this township does in helping people, it's very possible you might vote no to eliminate that township. Even though it's doing good things, if people don't know, they may vote no. And I think one of the things that was discussed in Springfield was just that. Be proud of your work. Tell the people about it. I know this isn't the opportunity or the right place to do it, but I would like to express my interest in your business. And if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to return and maybe connect with you, David, to talk about that possibility as you plan for your next fiscal year budget. But really getting the word out makes a huge difference. And New Trier is seeing it. People are pulling up to the township with bags of food, paper goods. Girl Scout troops are coming in doing paper drives. The results are here. The stories are here. These are real people in this newsletter that they banded together to collect books for Bernie's Book Bank, who provides books to at-risk kids. They didn't have to do this. They work with the township in partnership. So it's a good thing. We're doing a lot of good things. We're seeing results. And I believe that townships are still viable, but you really do have to tell your story. If there's any questions, I know you're probably anxious to get out of here, but I'm happy to field questions.
Any questions?
I'm happy to
Actually, how many townships do you work with currently?
right now I'm working with one, with New Trier. In the past, we've done work with Niles Township in Skokie, Illinois. They're currently using a different firm now. But Niles was another one that we really did some great projects for. You know, the newsletters are pretty simple to get out. The people really responded there in a big way as well. They've got a food pantry operation that's feeding about 4,000 people a month because it's such a heavily populated area. Skokie, Lincolnwood, Morton Grove, Niles, big towns, old towns, but the need is there. And getting the work out, you know, for them made a difference too. I believe we really did. So.
Up until a couple of years ago, we actually did have, it was somewhat sporadic, but it was information to people about the functions and the various things that were on the property that were done.
Sure. And
improvements. It was like I said, it was projected to be a quarterly, but it didn't always make it as quarterly, but it was might be up to a couple times a year.
Yeah, some townships do them twice a year. Others, New Trier does it 3. Niles does it 4 times a year. So it really is up to the director as to what.
Well, it had a lot to do with things such as pushing your snow in the road and all and that type of thing. And we had touch a truck at that time and other functions that were here,
right,
which we don't anymore.
And one of the things about transparency, Nutria does a wonderful job, the board and the leadership, they are very diligent about transparency. And the annual report is also, extra insert pages are put in the summer newsletter, so the actual budget and annual report is distributed to the residents as well. So they're not holding anything back. All the documents are on the website. There's a new website that was just put up. So they put up money to hire an outside firm called Civic Plus, who does nothing but municipal websites. And my company helped with the writing and the project management of the website.
Effectively, what we're in the motion of gathering the information to see, and it is a substantial amount of money to cover all of the township, and that's going to be a limiting factor also.
Of course, I understand. It is a big expense, and I think the trustees there waited, and they felt it was better to make the investment. They're looking at it as an investment and communicating and in their future, because they really want to keep the township alive and viable for the public. So. But I totally understand. I'd be happy to work with you to get the best possible pricing on the printing. And the mailing, the postage, we can't control Uncle Sam. You know, that is what it is. But paper printing and all that, we can definitely work with you to get the best economy that we can.
And as Dave had mentioned, you were coming, and I made sure, because I brought one of these for you too. This is what they have for Fox River Grove.
Yes.
And I thought, just go, you gave him one?
Yes.
Yes, he gave me
Oh,
that,
okay.
yeah. And that's wonderful. I mean, that's another example.
I have experience with this type of thing at the County Historical Society, and they used to just have essentially an 11 by 14 or whatever, folded over a bunch of pages though, folded over like that, but it was just printer paper, copy paper.
Yeah,
and when they switched over to a glossy colored cover, tremendous difference in the acceptance by the people. They really appreciated it.
Yeah.
It caught, and I have to say, on top of that, we did have one person that quit because they thought it cost too much to make it more desirable, basically, by putting a shiny cover on. But as long as you got that, thank you.
Well, the interesting example to illustrate your point, this was the old Nutria Township Courier that had been mailed out for years. Kind of a two-color, very monotone looking, sort of the old 90s desktop published for essentially the same money. The new cover, it's like a magazine.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of paper, essentially the same gauge weight of paper, the same run as far as households. But people were going, wow, when did you start doing a newsletter? Now I'm doing a little of this, but this became kind of like the wallpaper in your house. Nobody really noticed it. And now people are responding to the articles. They're sending us nice notes and emails, and the trustees are hearing, as they're in the Jewel or whatever, how people really appreciate the transparency and the sharing of information. But the residual they're seeing, as I said, is people coming in, making donations, wanting to help. It is an affluent area, no question about it. But until you ask for the help, and until you start to get people engaged. We just did a seminar on Medicare Part B. We had a bunch of senior citizens come in because they're confused. And Jan Schakowski's field rep was there to do an excellent presentation on Medicare Part B. So we're getting people to come into the township hall. They're engaging with our people and they're learning about it. So we like to think of it as a mix of communications, events, and partnership with the agencies that we work with.
If you don't mind, I'll break with tradition and ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question or add something, a comment. Please let me know.
Yeah.
Anybody? Yeah. Yes, sir.
If you do go this route, I think it's important to put the financial bills somehow in perspective for the people to read. Because right now, we go to a meeting and we don't know what's being approved until you guys do it. And if you use a website for that or some type of other type of communication, that would be very important to a lot of people.
Well, thank you for your comment.
Yes.
Yes,
What's your cost structure?
As far as,
So if there's 500 homes, what's that price to the township? If there's 1,000, what's that price? Is there a discount for volume?
yeah, it's like any printing project, it's economies of scale. But today we're living in the digital printing era. So the great thing about it is, if the job is small, say it's your example of 500, we can easily digitally print 500 copies. In the case of New Trier, they're mailing out a little over 21,000 copies. So it blankets every house in the township. So every 1,000 or so you buy creates a scale economy. And it's public information. I mean, they're, with the postage and the printing, they're budgeting about $38,000 a year to mail this thing 3 times a year. The design and the writing, I mean, those fees are separate, project estimates that we submit to the township. And then the trustee and the administrators, they approve those expenses. Yeah, sure. You're welcome. Others?
yeah, Ron, you have one?
No, I just, from my experience, the township currently doesn't do an email blast. That's something that you could address doing. And it's based on what he's saying, 21,000 people for 21,000 homes.
Correct.
And what they're hitting in New Trier. That would equate to about 80-some thousand people, I believe, which would be about.
Which we have, yeah, we have.
There's 56,000 residents
Okay,
in
so-
New Trier, so you have a bigger resident
Sure,
population.
so you're gonna be hitting more homes, for, it seems like a lot of money.
But one of the things is you have to look at is, one of the things we'll be weighing is, there's been a dramatic drop off in many of the public participation activities. Which will, there's no sense putting out a paper that says nothing going on.
Most municipalities are moving.
So we'll see.
Snail mail, newsletters, and going to more digital format, is what I'm saying.
Okay, anybody else?
That is true. Yeah.
While Ron's still talking.
The difficulty is the opt-ins, so few people opt in, it's difficult to capture all, because ideally, if you had 56,000 residents minus infants and whatever, you'd have a lot of emails to mail to, but.
You get an email group list.
Right, yeah,
Very
there's
simple.
you gotta buy lists and you gotta get out there and try it, but, the response to the paper has been very positive. And I think also the population is just a bit older too, so I think that contributes to it.
All right, well, thank you. You can rest assured that Dave, who is part Bulldog, will be hanging into this.
Well, he was very generous.
Like I said, but it'll be, we have to evaluate it and see.
Sure, totally understand, but I appreciate the opportunity to come out.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming out.
Yes, thank you, Jack.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right. Moving on, I have an announcement to make by law, and that is October 1st, 2018, DHS raised the general assistant monthly amount from $245 to $304. This amount was voted on at the supervisors meeting in November at the TOI conference and was approved. So effective January 1st, 2019, the general assistant monthly grant will be $304. That's good. If you don't need it, realistically. Okay, do you need anything other than that for the record, Sharon? Okay, that takes care of that. All right, I have been notified we need to have an executive session. We need a motion and then a roll call for that. But I've also been notified for people who don't want to hang in there, depending on how long it's gonna take, that no action will be taken afterwards.
So moved.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Well, second.
You can't just make a motion in a second. You have to make the motion and state the reason. I think you should
Oh.
state.
Okay.
Pending litigation. Yes, sure.
Pending in front of the litigation.
Sure. I motion, this board go to executive session to discuss pending legislation or litigation.
Can I also, when we go into executive session, there's something else I would like to also bring up in
What
executive
generally
session.
is it?
The
Personnel or? Discipline.
differences between the A&E reports versus the annual budget.
No, that's
No.
not something that you can bring.
So that's
No.
just a regular meeting, so
Yes.
then we'll do that after.
Yeah.
We go into
Okay, well then-
executive session.
Okay, is it gonna be action
It's a
taken on it?
question, no action, it's just a question.
Just a
Okay, if
question.
that's just discussion,
Just
people can wait for
discussion.
discussion, but if, we have to notify them if there's gonna be action taken.
There's no action, this is just discussion
Yeah.
on differences in numbers.
Did you second?
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'm not finished yet.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C11, I motion that this board adjourn to executive session to discuss litigation and pending litigation and threatened litigation.
I will second.
Second, okay. That's
Can I
not,
get a voice vote or do I have to?
that should be a roll call vote,
Okay.
because we wanna show who goes in.
Okay,
All these, Karen, all these will be roll calls, including coming out,
okay.
just to show who is available.
Do we have discussion?
Yeah.
No more?
Melissa? You mentioned you had questions about that. I will raise this again with Supervisor Lutzo. I'm really gonna push it that, and I don't care when we have it, we need to have 2 meetings a month. And if it's the board meeting first and then the committee of the whole second, we need to be able to have a meeting where we talk and discuss things. And then we need to have a meeting where we just vote on things. And,
Well, we'll see, okay.
all right, so that's where that would be. Yes.
Bring this up. Actually, after we hadn't gone into executive session, we probably could have discussed that ahead of time, but.
Yeah.
Now we got the vote on the floor.
Okay, Victor?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes. Does any of this involve